mother told me, you can cry and all that, but that's not going to change tomorrow. If you think positive in your head, you're going to have positive outcomes.
You got to find that strength within, and everybody has it.
Hi guys, it's Nakita coming to you with Warrior Mentality. Warrior Mentality is a talk show dedicated to women who are thriving fearlessly with chronic illnesses. So this is our first episode, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And just want to kind of give you a little background on myself. I am a journalist, I am a television personality, and I am a published author. And I am, most importantly, a survivor of lupus. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2003 with also fibromyalgia. I have both discoid and SLE, and I'm also a mother of twins. I went through 7 years of infertility, and I've continued to thrive fearlessly in becoming a successful CEO, a supermom, now divorced wife, as I was married 12 years. And I put the show together because I want to inspire other women who, as well, live and thrive fearlessly despite their circumstances. So welcome. So today I have a very special guest I want to introduce you to, Miss Dina Miller. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Perfect. And Dina is a lupus survivor as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to her about her condition. But before we get to that, what I want to do is start with let's talk about a condition that people never really discuss. One of the conditions that I came across surfing the internet is a condition called pica. And pica is a condition where you crave non-food items, such as ice, you crave crayons, you crave toilet paper, you crave paper in general, dirt, grass, wood. I've seen it all. And it's one of those diseases that people have where it's a chemical imbalance inside, but people don't talk about it, primarily speaking, because they're too embarrassed to do so. That being said, I want to talk about pica. I want to not only talk about pica, I want to talk about a solution. So that being said, I looked into pica. Pica is a chemical imbalance that is usually fueled by lack of iron in the body. So because your body lacks iron, it's starting to crave nutrients inside of non-food items. So although, to the naked eye, you may think that is weird to crave crayons, it's something about the smell of the crayon that puts you in a situation where you're craving yourself to want to eat it. It's something about the smell of frozen ice that is making you want to eat it. It's the smell of cornstarch that's making you want to eat it. Now, there's nothing wrong with putting a little cornstarch in your meal, but in moderation. When you're doing it excessively, it becomes dangerous. Okay, so things that you can do to cure yourself from pica, or pica is pronounced both ways. You can actually take more iron pills. If you're anemic, definitely talk to your doctor, because they can do things to balance that out. It's really important because we have so many Americans walking around addicted in pica, having pica, and they're not treating themselves. Okay, so I just wanted to put that little fun health fact out before we get back and make the show all about Miss Dina and her condition. So let's get back to you. Tell us about when you were first diagnosed with lupus.
I was first diagnosed in June of 2000. Mm-hmm. I was going through a lot with my daughters. I have 3 adult daughters. One was graduating from high school, and it was just a lot between her graduating, getting her ready for college. The job, I had just gotten laid off from Ameritech, had been with them over 18 years, so that in itself added stress. Very tired. I was swollen for no reason, achy, just thinking, okay, stress, it'll go away. My aunt was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis like 2 weeks prior. So I went to the little neighborhood doctor, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm swollen, I hurt, I'm tired, I'm just not myself. He said, okay. He said, your aunt was here, I remember. It's like, let me run a couple of tests. He ran the test, took a couple of days. I was at work. My mom calls me because I was working for a temporary agency. She said, you need to get to Trinity Hospital. And I'm like, for what? Right. She's like, Dr. Anthony said something with your complement levels and your blood is low and you just need to get there or you won't be around. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And she was like, he's gonna tell you, I don't wanna tell you over the phone, I'll meet you there. So I was downtown on the train, took the train. She met me at 95th Street. We go over to Trinity and they took me right in and he explained to me, he said, hey, have you ever heard of lupus? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what do you know about it? I'm like, I know it killed my soror. That's pretty much all I knew. And he told me, I said, well, what is it? Where did it come from? He said, we don't know. He said, but I have to treat you. They started me on, I had to have an iron injection because my iron was terribly low. I had to have a blood transfusion because the blood, everything was low. And they started me on 80 milligrams of prednisone. That was like a death sentence. That was the worst ever. But the saving grace was the fact that because I was so active still, the disease hadn't taken over the organs. It just basically did my joints a job. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. So you've been battling lupus right now for about 18 years.
Yes.
And right there, just knowing that, and the first thing that you said, the blood. And that was one of the things that's really, really important to point out, that your levels were low. And, one of the things about lupus, that's one of the first steps to finding out whether or not you have it. You definitely want to get your blood. Now, blood work isn't the only thing that will put the diagnosis out there. It's a series of things. But like you said, the doctor knew then, and that's really good, when the blood count was low, to bring you in. And that's really, really good because a lot of doctors don't do that. they just say, okay, now you got overactive thyroids and let's just test you for that. Because I too went to Trinity and I had mouth ulcers. That was my indicator, my trigger, and they told me I had a cold. So once you found out, now you know that, you're battling lupus. Like, what was the first thing that went through your mind when you found out this is what I have and there's no cure for this disease?
What was gonna happen with my children? Because at the time, one was, I still had a young kid. I still had a young daughter. So I'm thinking, if she was going on 18, my youngest daughter was like 10, 11. Then my oldest daughter was maybe 20, 21. But the thing was, what's going to happen to my children if I'm gone? I haven't prepared for them for me not to be around them, and for the fact that I didn't know enough about the disease. They had to learn while I was going through what I was going through about the disease as well. And for, to tell a 10-year-old, hey, mommy's got something that can't be cured, and mommy might not be the same as she used to be. That's a bit much because I have SLE, I have discoid, I've got fibromyalgia, I've got all the other connective tissue things that come along with the lupus. I take an iron injection every 2 months. Thankfully, I haven't had one in 6 months.
Nice.
I take another injection, a monthly injection for the discoid, because I have a chronic itching disease because it came with the lupus. So, I have GERD, so I take something for the GERD. It's just so many different things, and it's a lot. And my daughters, they're my heroes. They're my rocks because they know, well, mama's down, we got to do this. And for 6 months, I was really down. No work. Couldn't hardly get out of bed, didn't have an appetite. I had 16 different meds I had to take at one time. And it was like I had a cocktail. That's what I said. I had a cocktail. I have a medicine container. every pain pill that you can think of, calcium, the iron, the vitamins,
potassium,
the zinc, everything. It's just the B12s, you know, everything. So, but now I'm down to 3, maybe 4. I do the iron every other day. I'm still doing the Plaquenil, which they increased. I'm tapering off the prednisone, and that's the hardest because, you know, sometimes you get like you're feeling a flare.
Right.
And I do the omeprazole for the GERD.
Okay.
And then I do my vitamins.
And one of the things as well, while we're talking about medication, I do want to point out that there is only one FDA-approved medication that is on the market over the past 50 years to treat lupus. All of the other medications, the ones even you just named, are used and usually designed to treat other conditions such as cancer, malaria, things of that sort. So one of the things about lupus is it is a very mysterious disease, and it's something that we're fighting for a cure, but we also need to fight and find out exactly where it comes from, whether or not it's genetically, you know, tied to, because I've also interviewed people who said no one else in their family has lupus, but maybe they don't know.
Right.
I've met people who said my mom had it, my brother had it, my cousin on my baby daddy cousin side. So it's just kind of, you know, one of those things. One of the things I am doing is I am a national ambassador for the Lupus Foundation of America. And what we're doing, we have a campaign that allows us to raise awareness to the disease in general, to make sure that people know that this is a mysterious disease, but it's way out of control, that it's been 50 years and we only have one medication. So we need to find out what can we do, you know? So in your words, what is the biggest like misconception, would you say, so far that you've heard about lupus?
That only Black women get it. You know, you hear, oh, African American, only African American women get it. And it's crazy because prior to me being diagnosed, they diagnosed me with multiple sclerosis. So I'm like, no. And the meds from that made me very ill. But because the lupus, it masks so many other diseases that they don't know. And then the funny thing, you're mentioning that one drug, but guess what? That Benlasta, it's been tested and it shows that it's not as effective in African American women as in other, you know, like the Caucasians and the Asians. So that's scary because it was brought to me by my rheumatologist to try it, and I said I'm skeptical because I don't want to be the lab rat.
Yeah, exactly, and it's an infusion, and it's like, you know, you think of that, and then you also compare it to chemo. So it's like, okay, so you have to go through all of these different infusions, and then you may have to turn around and get chemo on top of it. So now, then they wonder why we're tired. We're not lazy. We're tired. And here's the deal. You are a student, you work every day, you're a mom, and then you have to battle a disease. So that's why they call lupus survivors warriors. Because you're a warrior. You know how to fight this disease. You know how to get up, and you understand that strong is really the only option that we have. Like for myself, the biggest misconception, and it annoys me to my soul, when I get a person who come and tell me that they want to cure me or there is a cure for lupus. I respect Dr. CB. I respect him, God rest his soul. However, trust me, if you don't think for 1 second I haven't tried every single thing, the amount of waking up, just the very thought that's why this cause is so important to me, because every day we wake up in pain. We have to take medication every single day
just to get up,
just to get out of bed. So when people tell me, oh, there's a cure, all you got to do is take this and mix that with that and juice and detox your body and all this, we've done all of that. So that being said, so as far as that's bringing me to my next question, like we got the support systems, love them to death, but how do you deal with insensitive support people where they don't really know that they're being insensitive?
My response could be nasty, but I've learned to do otherwise. I kind of educate them because I have had family members previously kind of say, "Oh, you're just afraid," or "You're not eating right." That's the biggest thing. "Oh, you're not eating right," or "Don't take that medicine because it has these side effects, and that's probably why you're feeling the way you're feeling." So, and that, "Oh, you don't look sick. You don't look like you have lupus." And you want to ask her, "Well, what the heck does lupus look like?"
Yeah, you tell me.
Because there's many faces. We have so many faces. Tell me what lupus look like. Okay, I lost my hair. Okay, my hair is thin. Okay, I've gained 60, 70 pounds. But if I'm living with it and I'm accepting it, you want to be around me, you have to accept it. So try to educate them as much as I can. Sometimes I get tired of the questions. I'll answer, I might be a little short, and then I might say it's just not the time right now, or it's not the place, but my biggest thing is I educate them and I tell them, "Hey, help, donate for the research."
Exactly.
Because we need the money for the research.
Exactly.
I want to cure, I want to live till I'm 90, 100 years old, not having to think that I have to take medication every day. Yeah. I want to be able to get up out of the bed, not having to go and take a hot shower or hot bath before I get ready for work. I want to be able to go to work, sit at my desk, and when I get up, not be in pain or not be stiff.
Exactly.
I want to be normal. I want to be back to normal.
Right.
That's the thing. I want to be like everybody else that's walking around. If I go up a flight of stairs, I'm winded. It's different things I want to do. If we go to the park, when I go to the park, my grandchildren can't really run along, kind of have to sit and watch.
Exactly.
I want to be able to, when they go down the slide, I try to go down the slide, because if I do it, if I run around the park and do the slide and everything, when I come home, shower and bathe and go to bed the next morning, I've got to take pain pills.
Exactly.
And that's not normal.
Exactly. So you want a normal life, and we all do. And you're very pretty.
Thank
One
you.
of the things, I invited you onto the show. What I want to show is that we are normal women that happen to have, everybody have a demon.
Yeah.
Our demon has a name, and his name is Lupus. So let's talk about your love life. So you got a boo, and how do you maneuver? How do you do all of that? Do you feel are there any insecurities there, or is it oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me?
Initially, right now it's so wonderful. It's the honeymoon stage. He's younger, but he's very understanding.
Yes.
He works with me a lot because, as you said, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm working full time. I work part-time as a brand ambassador for a company that works with the suppliers of liquor. So I'm your face when you come into Benny's. You see me giving out samples of liquor. And I go to school part-time.
Yeah.
And then I'm dating. And I told him one day, I said, "I don't think I can date because I don't have enough time." He just was like, "Okay, fine." But it's great. I mean, it's just he's very understanding. If I say, "Oh, I'm aching," he's like, "Okay, I'll massage you." If I say I want to eat such and such, okay, well I'll cook. He's a cooker.
Hey.
So that's a plus because
So
I don't have time.
She just slipped out of here and got her a blessing. Come through, Dina. Yes. I love it. And that's the thing. So, and that's what it's all about. Just finding that little glimmer of sunshine through all of the rain. You know what I mean? And I'm happy for you. That's what you're supposed to do, honey. So let's talk about what advice, let's say you have I'm a profiler person, let's say a 21-year-old young lady, she's finding out for the first time that she has lupus. She's talking to you. She's saying, "Dina, I have lupus. I don't know what this is. I don't know, I have a death sentence. What do you say to her?
I tell her it's not a death sentence. You can live with it. You see what I do? I'm living proof. And I'll tell her, you're young. Talk to your rheumatologist, join a support group, sit your family down, because they're part of your support system. If you have a boyfriend, hey, talk to him. Get the information. You get the information. Have them come to the doctor. My mom is real good about if something's going on, especially if I end up in the ER or anything. My mom is good for coming, like, you got a doctor's visit. Hey, you want me to come? My daughters are good for that. When I can't drive, they're the ones that take me. I had surgery back in December, and initially it was just supposed to be a biopsy. But when they went in, it turned into a major surgery. Healing initially, allegedly, was only supposed to be 2 weeks. I ended up being off 2 months. Thanks to the wolf, Mr. Lupus, the healing took longer. So with that being said, I'd give the young lady a lot of information. I'd tell her what to expect. I tell her, don't listen to people that don't have it and tell you, oh, just eat clean. Oh, try this thing of herbs. Because, some of the herbs are no to us. Yeah. So I just make sure that she educated herself as well as her people around her. And then I would tell her, fight. That's all you can do. Don't give up. Some people give up. And when they give up, they succumb to disease. Yep. And I refuse to do that.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that. That brought me to my next point. Now, one of the things I personally do to live with lupus is I psychologically beat it. Okay. It's in my head. I tell myself, and this is in all things, if I tell myself that I've already beat it, I already beat it. Right. And you can't tell me anything different. Right. I already beat it. Right. That being said, let's talk about diets. Is there anything in particular that you eat? Is there anything because you have discoid and SLE, so you already know we're basically allergic to anything at any given time. Exactly. So is there any, would you say no foods that you tend to notice that it, kind of work opposite? Like for me, it's pineapples. I love pineapples, seriously love pineapples, but the acid, it can flare me up. Yep. So what about you?
Tomatoes. Okay. Tomatoes are my biggest nemesis. Tomatoes and red sauce. It doesn't like me. I don't care how much anti-acid, how much Prilosec, omeprazole, they just don't like me. Come out on my skin. Mess my esophagus up. Yeah. it's the tomatoes. And then too, I don't do canned goods because of the preservatives. Yeah. The preservatives send me into a flare. Okay. And I'm not a big red meat eater anymore. Even though they tell me at least once a week, I just find it so hard to digest. Yeah. It is. It's really hard. So let me ask you a question. How do we find you on social media? Is it anything that you're working on? Things like that. Let's talk about you. I'm on Facebook, of course. Everybody's on Facebook. Yeah. And I'm Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I don't do the Snapchat. I think it's more for the younger generation, and I'm seasoned, as I say. Yeah. But I used to volunteer a lot with the foundation because they needed people to get out correspondence and do some light typing and stuff. But right now my schedule just doesn't permit it. I am going to do the walk again. Okay. I do it every year in September. And the only reason I don't do the one in June is because weather sometimes, that heat, that sun, I do deal with photosensitivity issues. Yeah. And we have to wear sunscreen pretty much all the time, except for a day like today. And the sunscreen is $14 for a little 8-ounce bottle. Yeah. So, and it got to be over 100. Right. So I just kind of take a lot of that into consideration. Of course, this month I've been kind of highlighting it more hey, this is our month. Yeah. So. Absolutely. I missed a big fundraiser yesterday because that the rain just had me down and out.
Right.
It actually was starting Saturday, and then it just hit me yesterday, so I had to chill so I could make it to work today. So, you know, and then today wasn't too bad, but I took a half of a Norco, and it was like, okay, I'm going to be high, but I'll be okay. So
That's
it's
right.
just, you know, I gauge it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And like I said, I do want to commend you for being an amazing warrior. Thanks. I also want to commend you for being on the show today.
You're welcome.
And you guys, I want to commend you for tuning in. I sincerely thank you for coming along with me on this warrior mentality journey. And remember, you know, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm not on Snapchat either. It's just not my thing. I'm sorry. Not really a fan of the puppy dog ears. No shade to those who do. Now, everything is Nakita Nicci spelled Nicci. I do want to thank you. I also want to make sure that everyone is still thriving fearlessly. And my message to my warriors, sis, you can beat this. You got this. You are strong. You are beautiful. You have this. Keep fighting. And until next time, talk to you guys soon.
My mother told me you can cry and all that, but that's not going to change tomorrow. If you think positive in your head, you're going to have positive outcomes.
You got to find that strength within, and everybody has it.